Okay, what's up, everyone? Swinging Bull here, back again for another earnings stream. It's Thursday, week's almost over, just got Friday, but welcome. It's 4 p.m. Eastern, regular session closing bell just rang, so that's done deal for that for the day. Got after hours price action. We've got a whole bunch of companies reporting earnings. Dropbox, Pinterest, Rocket Lab, SoundHound, Trade Desk. I want to know what Rocket Lab and Pinterest reactions are going to be. Also, SoundHound, pretty interested in them as well. Rocket Lab is supposed to report at 4:15 p.m. Eastern. Quick little look at their bigger, basically 1 year chart. They've been on a pretty nice run, kind of forming maybe a bull flag here coming into earnings. So we'll see. Pinterest reports at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. They were also rallying into the earnings on the bigger time frames. Sad Boy Slim's in the house. Oh, looks like it. Can y'all hear me okay? Yo, what's up? Okay, cool. Anyways, yeah, so we got the earnings coming up. Let's take a look. I'm going to go to Webull here. Like Rocket Lab and Pinterest both getting some movement here going into the earnings announcement. Both of them getting positive movement so far. Look at this. Sad Boy says he's got, in the Discord says he's got Rocket Lab. When Shy spoke about it last year, you're up 98%. Congrats, man. Congrats on that gain. Yeah, there's some buying coming in right now. I think the data's out. Let's take a look real quick. I don't know if this is just like some pre-earnings price movement here. So now their actual earnings call for Rocket Lab is at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we've got about an hour for that. Just some predictions about Rocket Lab's earnings. What investors are wanting to see is they want to see new contracts, backlog grow, a revenue beat. Neutron still aimed for 2025, no delay, and maybe some new products. We'll see. Let's see. Shy from X. His top 5 small cap positions: Rocket Lab, RKLB, ASTS, VKTX, Beam, and ILNQ. ILNQ just reported earnings the other day. Okay, so both companies had an initial pop up, but now there's some selling coming in right now. Blue Brains in the house. What's up, brother? One stream earning at some point. Yeah, absolutely. Mo Alvarez, shout out to Mo on YouTube. Good to see you. All right, let's see what happens here. It's, like it popped up to 45.30, then came all the way back and actually wicked down, talking about Rocket Lab, to 43.76. Now it's back basically where it closed at. So let's just give it a second. It's kind of mixed on X what the predictions were. Pinterest is getting volatile too. It kind of same thing. They popped up a little bit, then came down. Overall, they're down right now 2.6%. Let's see if I got EPS revenue for either one of these. And for Pinterest, the expected move post earnings is $4 a share. So that's like a 10% move on Pinterest. So we'll see if it does that or not. Pinterest came right back up to where it closed at the regular session. So indecision on both stocks. The earnings bias on Pinterest overall is bullish. Got some predictions of Pinterest possibly going to $45 a share with positive earnings, negative earnings. Got some levels here around $34 a share. So let's see which way it goes. But yeah, that kind of lines up with the expected move, 10%. And the forecast EPS for Pinterest is 0.35, and the forecast revenue is 975 million. So let's see what they end up reporting. And let me go back to Rocket Lab just for a second. Okay, Rocket Lab, free float 470 million. Okay, so yeah, Rocket Lab, they've been having trouble pulling a profit, but you know, it's trading around $40, so debt to asset 65%. I think revenue is going to be a big deal for Rocket Lab, so let's see what they end up reporting. Pinterest basically just isn't a social stock. Investors want to see ad revenue, user growth, margin expansion is key. Investors hoping they give us strong guidance. Okay, it's 4:06 p.m. So let's take a look. Rocket Lab. Yeah, we were looking at SYM yesterday as well. What would they end up doing after last night? Let's see. Go 15-minute chart on SYM. Okay, so they're still kind of hanging out down here, but it does look like the bottom's probably in here. I think the slow trend up today after it bottomed out at open. So yeah, this could be going back the other way. Looks like the bottom's probably in on SYM. So that's good for the SYM bulls or anyone trying to get a discount from when it was trading in the 60s yesterday. Still at $54, a little under 55. Let's go back to pins. Okay, it's the 15-minute chart. So Pinterest is green. Oh, now that's red. So it's still kind of indecision on Pinterest. I don't think the data's out yet, to be honest with you. Let's see, Pinterest. I mean, earnings whisper says 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Rocket Lab says 4:15. So we'll see if that's correct or not. Let me go to TradingView. Okay, so Rocket Lab's still just kind of hanging out, not really doing much. It is a little green, but not by much. Same thing with Pinterest, kind of. It's a little red, but not by much. Not really getting any action yet. I want to see what SoundHound does as well. Okay, and let me get the link for to get into the Rocket Lab earnings call. Let me do this. Rocket Lab earnings call. Basically the webcast, right? Let me see if I'll paste this link in here. Okay, that's the link for the Rocket Lab earnings call webcast. I got that. And again, it starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. So, like 45 more minutes or so. All right, Rocket Lab showing signs of life now, finally. Really ugly price action, these first 4 or 5 candles. A lot of indecision, spike up, spike down, back to baseline. Now it's sitting green, up 1.28%, about 56 cents a share. People on X are funny. Refresh your screen. We're waiting on price movement. Okay, I'm going to go to Rocket Lab's investor webpage. All right. And the earnings, I'll keep refreshing their investor relations page until they post it. August 5th. Yeah, still waiting. I got the link for the. Matter of fact, I'm going to post this link for the earnings webcast, and this will be the investor relations page for Rocket Lab. There we go. Much better link there. Just look at some of these comments. Got almost 3,000 people joining the party today. Welcome, y'all. We had like 3,000 or 4,000 yesterday. We're averaging like 4,000 every time we do one of these streams. We can get some great engagement from everyone. We'll take a look at one stream here in a minute. Yeah, Golden Vault on YouTube. I saw that too. Just kind of looking at the daily chart. It had a pretty sweet run up since the last earnings, which they reported the last earnings on May 8th. They did have a surprise on revenue, a positive surprise, so they beat revenue that time, but they did miss EPS. Not by a lot, but they did miss it. But got a good revenue beat last earnings, and they ran, like I was saying before when the stream started, almost looked kind of like bull flaggish looking. Wasn't sure if that pattern was going to play out. Of course, technical analysis don't matter much with the earnings catalyst, but nonetheless, it had a nice run, almost bull flag looking going into this earnings. Let me go back intraday and see what it's doing. Yeah, it's still just flat. So I don't see. All right, let me look at this latest events here. Okay, so yeah, they don't have the data out yet. I'm not seeing the data out. I do see the link for the web call, but that's basically it. Let me double check. Yeah, the last one I see is the May 8th earnings, and there's nothing after that. So still waiting on Rocket Lab earnings. So let's just go over to Pinterest real quick and see if we got anything there. So I think what did earnings whisper say? Yeah, Rocket Lab is 4:15, so it's only in 3 minutes. So we should get to move in 3 minutes. Right now, it's just, it's a little green, but I wouldn't put a lot of weight on what it's doing right now, because we'll get the earnings data in a few minutes here, and then we'll really know what's going on. So put that on hold just for a second. Let me check something else again as well. That one stream stock, is that ticker symbol OS, I think, for one stream. Were they reporting also? I think they were. Let me look. There it is, one stream right there. Okay, yeah, that's $20 stock. Go 15-minute. It kind of sold off a little bit today, but kind of fish hooking up here at the end of the day. What's daily chart look like? Yeah, daily chart looks a little funky, but kind of crazy pattern going on here on the daily chart. But this looks like somewhat of a new listing. Looks like it got listed a year ago, so it's only been listed for like a year, according to TradingView. Pinterest, still nothing going on with Pinterest. Earnings Whispers said it was 4:05 p.m. Eastern for the data, but I'm not seeing it. Let me double check. Yeah, still nothing on Pinterest either. Investors basically giving this earnings a 50-50 shot, could go either way, as is most earnings. We already went over the forecast for Pinterest. We'll go over it again real quick, but 0.35 for the EPS and 975 million for the revenue. So let's see what they end up reporting. Let me go to Pinterest Investor Relations. I'm going to refresh Rocket Lab as well, and just make sure. Let's look at the news. I'll just go to overview on their homepage real quick. Okay. Yeah, still waiting. Let me check Pinterest just real quick. Put Rocket Lab back over here just for a second. Walter White on YouTube. I love the name. No, Pinterest has not announced yet. So we're still kind of waiting on them. Rocket Lab's data must be out. Look at that. They're catching a little bid here. They're up 5%. Got some good buying coming in. So yeah, these first candles, that was nothing. That wasn't even what really was going on. Rocket Lab's got to be out. It just made a nice move up. So I'm assuming they beat the revenue numbers. Everyone keeps talking about refreshing their page. All right, I'm going to go back here. Quarterly results. Let's see. Nope, they still don't have it out. We still only got the web call link. Still waiting on Pinterest as well. It's 4:16 p.m. Rocket Lab's got to be out. I'll give it a few more minutes. And look at this. Look at the buying coming in on Rocket Lab. So the expected move for Rocket Lab, I think, was around 10% as well. So that would put it like in the upper 40s if that happens. Okay. We go to Pins, Investor Relations, and take a look here. All right, let's take a look. Okay, we got the link for the Pinterest earnings web call, but still no data on Pinterest. Their earnings web call starts at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to start in about 15 minutes. Let me see. I'm gonna go back to the other screen just real quick. I'll post this in the comments so everyone can get to the web call for Pinterest if they want to. It starts in about 13 minutes. Look at what Rocket Lab did. Geez, it was pretty volatile at first. Made a nice move up to 47. It came all the way back down. So this is just really volatile right now. Okay, almost 420. This is slow going. Trying to get the data for these two companies. They're just, it's not out. In both companies, I'm just seeing the earnings web call, but nothing else. And there's really not much going on with either stock. I mean, Rocket Lab's a little green, but it's just trading right above where it closed at, basically. And Pinterest is basically trading at where it closed at. So neither one of these companies really doing much of anything. I'm going to go to, I want to see what SoundHound did. SOUN, AI company. Yeah, let's talk about them. They got a positive reaction. They're up over 7%. All right, this is more like it. These Rocket Lab and Pinterest, just boring. Look at Rocket Lab all the way back down to where it closed the regular session. So just shenanigans going on right there. Okay, SOUN. Let's take a look. There was some decent call flow hitting the tapes prior to this earnings. And SOUN, the market was pricing in a $1.50 per share move. So not really a big move. I mean, I guess it'd be 10%, but it's up 6% right now. Still nothing going on with Rocket Lab. What a just uneventful on Rocket Lab. I thought there'd be a bigger move than what, I mean, I guess there was kind of a big move, but I didn't think it would do what it's doing right now. I mean, it just kind of went crazy there for a minute, and now it's back to where it closed at. So kind of a letdown on that one as far as action goes. What's up, Brutal Trade in Discord? Good to see you, brother. All right, let me check Rocket Labs one more time. Yeah, the Golden Vault. People were buying Rocket Lab, hoping for neutron updates. Yeah, I was reading that earlier that the whole neutron thing. Investors are wanting to know what's up with that, and the Golden Dome contracts, right? If they get no new information, we probably see a dip tomorrow in Rocket Lab. Yeah. So that was one of the things, the neutron, and then updates on like new project or contracts and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, without any of that, I just don't know if investors are going to be impressed on this for it to catch a bid. But you know, I suppose what it's doing now, as far as the bulls are concerned, you know, it's better than it's selling off, of course. So you know, who knows? Maybe it stays flat. Sometimes these stocks do that. And I'll give an update on those positions I was showing everyone yesterday on my Fidelity account. I'll let everyone know what's going on with those. Probably here in a few minutes because there's not much going on. Who else reported? Let me just see real quick. Trade desk. Let's see what the trade desk did. TTD, right? Yeah, there it is. Oh, okay. Trade desk. They took a hit. Look at that. Trade desk is down 30%. Holy smokes. They closed the regular session at 88 bucks and some change. Look at them way down here. Wowzers. I want to see what happened with them. Give me one sec. Go back out of this page over here. TTD. They must have missed bad. Or adjusted guidance downwards or something. Okay, the trade desk. Let's take a look here. EPS actually came in line with expectations, and the revenue also beat expectations. So I'm thinking they adjusted guidance down. That's probably what got them. Q3 guide. Q3 guide, it looks like they slightly beat the estimate, but not you know, just not a lot. I think investors were hoping that they would just beat a lot more than they did. And they did report 1.7 billion in cash and equivalents and no debt. Share count fell 1% year over year. All right, let me take a look at a few other things. Shy posted some nice data for us. I'm going to post this for the trade desk because this thing, wow, down 29%. That's crazy. I mean, they were just trading at 88 bucks and now they're down at to 62. There's the trade desk results. Sales of reported of 694 million. The estimate was 686, so they beat sales. EPS looks like they missed just by a little bit. They increased the Q3 sales guide just by a little bit from 716 to 717, but nothing really fantastical. It's just like everything just kind of came in line, right? I think investors were just expecting better data, even though the data, you know, it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't great. It just kind of came in line. Let's look at OS. OneStream, they're not really doing anything. Technically, they're down. They had a little, and this is the 1 minute chart. So they were downtrending for most of the day, curled up at the end of the day, kind of fish hooked up a little bit. And it just looks like, I mean, there's not a lot of volume on this. Let me see what Webull looks like. Pinterest is selling off. We're going to go back to them in a second. Rocket Lab still acting all crazy. Indecision. I just want to check OneStream and see. Yeah, see, there's just nothing on the order book on OneStream, so not really any volume. So nothing really going on with that right now. Still kind of waiting. Rocket Lab, still kind of acting funny. It's not quite sure what it wants to do yet. Is it getting some flickering candles? All right, I finally got the Rocket Lab data. Jeez, were they like delayed? And maybe that's why those candles were acting all funny. Maybe the earnings got delayed or something, but finally got some Rocket Lab data here. They did miss EPS, but they did beat revenue. So the forecast EPS was negative 0.11. They just reported negative 0.13. So yes, they missed EPS, which EPS was also down 63% year over year. In the revenue, the forecast for that was 135 million, and they reported 144 million. So they beat revenue by like $9 million, 7% beat there. Again, EPS down 63%, but I think for Rocket Lab, revenue is a little more important than EPS, I think. So revenue was up 36% year over year. EPS was down 8%. We know they've had EPS problems. That's why the forecasts are in the negative. But revenue up 18% quarter over quarter. So, revenue, they got a handle on revenue, that's for sure. But just nothing really exciting going on for this to get a bunch of buying pressure right now. Let's look at this. Rocket Lab provides opportunity for retail shareholders to attend the opening event of the Neutron launch site in Virginia. Okay, so that's what we were talking about. I was talking about that with Golden Vault, I think. So they did give an update on that Neutron launch site in Virginia. And they're providing opportunity for retail shareholders to attend the opening event. That's pretty cool. That would be a pretty cool event to go to, I think. So the official opening of LC3 on August 28th represents a bold step forward in delivering reliable, responsive launch capabilities from U.S. soil with Neutron, strengthening the nation's leadership in space while creating new opportunities for innovation and growth in Commonwealth of Virginia and beyond. Okay, there's some selling coming in on Rocket Lab right now, so brace yourself. Again, expected move for Rocket Lab, I thought it was around 10%, if I'm not mistaken. And that Neutron event, it's basically to celebrate the launch site's importance to regional growth and economic prosperity, national security, and Virginia's increasing role and capabilities in the aerospace industry. Big Fad on X, doing well. I hope you're doing well also. Hope you have a good week. It's Thursday, so we got the bulk of the week behind us, and let's end the week on a good note tomorrow on Friday. Everyone, trade smart. Don't take any unnecessary risk, and potentially get back your profit you made throughout the week. Sometimes people do that. They have a great week, and then they just go nuts on Friday and give it all back. Got to try and and that goes for everyone, even me. I get FOMO too sometimes, but we just got to try and work on our discipline at the end of the week a little more, and no need to play hero, right? There's no need to play hero on Friday. Let's enjoy our weekend, recharge the batteries, right? And then come back Monday with a clear mind. Trading on a clear mind, it's so important. And like, even if you're sick, anything like that, you're sick, maybe you're hungry, you shouldn't be trading, I don't think. Let's get back to your health as much as you can and get a clear mind, and then rock and roll. Rocket Lab had some pretty funky price action. Then it sold off to 41.18. Now there's a little, I guess you could say there's a little bit of buying pressure there. You could tell from the bottom wick on this 5-minute candle. There is a slight buy side imbalance on the order book now after it's sold. So I'm just trying to come back up. We'll see. I'll go 1-minute chart. I don't like, when I go to draw my levels out, I'm not going to include these little pops up here because that was just nonsense. So let me just draw it like from probably like right where it closed the regular session at, maybe. Come down here. I mean, let me just see what it looks like from up here. This I guess would be included in the move, but just so much sloppy price action there. I don't really like it, so I'm gonna draw it like that. All right, it's trying to find the bottom. We'll see if it can hold up. Let me go back to trading view just real quick. Pins. All right, let me see the earnings data. So the only earnings data I posted so far in the comments was the trade desk results. So let me get some formal data for Rocket Lab now that we know it's out. And it's about 4:30. So in just a minute, I'm going to go over some of those open positions I have on Fidelity and just kind of give an update to everyone about what's going on. I guess I can. I'll post this Rocket Lab data here. This is fine. Paste. Okay, there's StreamYard just posted my comment. All right, so there's some Rocket Lab data. And let's take a look here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any comments. So Golden Vault on YouTube was giving us some good information on Rocket Lab regarding the neutron updates and the Golden Dome contracts and just kind of what investors are looking for. So appreciate you sharing that with us. Let's take a look here. Wow, Golden Vault. Congrats on that trade. The 2,200 shares initially had 2,200 shares at 8.45 cost basis. Sold a nice chunk of them in the 47 to 52 range. Amazing trade. Congrats on that. Incredible. And still got 1,300 shares now. And, maybe consider you could sell some covered calls on that. You got 1,300 shares, you can do 13 contracts. Just something to consider that maybe you could bring in a little bit of extra income while you're waiting for shares to appreciate more. Let me get Pinterest EPS and all that. I know some people were asking about that. So, and Pinterest trying to bottom out as well in the low 30s, right around 3170-ish. Okay, Pinterest EPS came in at 0.33. That's for Walter White. I love that name. It makes me chuckle. So let me and they did pull a profit. Pinterest did over 38 million in profit, but their EPS they missed. It came in at 0.33. All right, so in their forecast was, we were just looking at that. Forecast was 0.35. So they missed EPS, but that's okay. They beat revenue. The forecast revenue was 974 million, and they reported 998 million. Oh, nice, Golden Vault. I love to hear it. You've been selling CCs for years. Awesome. Same here. That's like my go-to when I try and target income on some of my positions. Yeah, exactly. Keep track of all that credit you receive when you're churning out all those covered calls, and you can absolutely get your cost basis down to zero. I love that. Good stuff. Blue Brain, let me go back to the sticks here. Blue Brain says Serve Robotics just to a big hit, and I don't know why. Okay, yeah, we could take a look and see. Now that we got the Pinterest data. Serve Robotics. Let's take a look here. All right, let me pull up another page. Okay. Oh, someone's calling my office phone. Let me just put them on mute. probably regarding a real estate deal. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, so that's ticker symbol SERV, right? And it's just SERV, I believe. Let's take a look. SERV. There it is. SERV Robot. Yeah, they took a hit too. Down 11%. Trying to put a bottom in though. There's some green candles printing. It's just nothing but basically red selling candles leading up to right now, and finally getting some green prints here. So there's some buyers in the picture. Let's see how much momentum they'll have. So we got the Pinterest earnings results. Let me see what happened to SERV. See if I got anything on that, and then I want to go over those positions because I'm kind of running out of time a little bit. But that's okay. All right, so let's look at this chart here for SERV. This is for Blue Brain. EPS, they missed by quite a bit. Forecast was a negative number, but negative 0.22. They reported negative 0.36, so missed EPS by 64%. Revenue, they did beat revenue, so a little bit of a positive thing. You know, I don't know if it's going to be enough to, you know, for the buyers to really start flooding this thing, but they beat revenue. And revenue year over year looks good, and the revenue for quarter over quarter looks good. So that's, you know, they got some good revenue numbers. But like I say, they missed EPS by quite a bit. And let me just look at some other things. They do have you know, as far as the size of company they do have a pretty good liquidity position, if you will, and they're strong. Their cash and marketing securities balance is 183 million as of June 30th. So they're sitting on some M's, if you will. All right, so the outlook, they did reiterate 60 million to 80 million projected revenue at full utilization of the 2,000 robot fleet. They could come back up. There are some buyers considering this a little dip buy here. So it came down to 8.80. What's the bigger time frame chart look like? Okay, yeah, so they've just been kind of trading in this slightly descending channel. You could just put like a regression trend on this thing. Kind of looks like this. I'll show you. That's why I like TradingView. They got some neat tools you can use. But that's basically the price action that's been going on lately with this thing. So like the end of May, we could just call this the past 2 months of price action. You could have just traded this channel. We do some good channel trades in the Discord. Catch a stock that's in a channel, whether it's descending or ascending, it really don't matter. And just try and buy at the bottom of the channel and sell at the top, or short at the top and cover at the bottom, whatever your cup of tea is, right? Let's see here. Bullstag. Hey, Bullstag, good to see you. I remember you. TTD. Let me go intraday chart. Yeah, they definitely pulled back down 26%. I think, you know, the trade desk, you know, I don't know why they're taking such a big hit. But overall, I think there's still a, you know, the financials and fundamentals, like just overall from a bird's eye view, I don't think it's bad. PE ratio is pretty high. Trailing 12-month PEs at 108. I'd have to compare that with their competitors. Okay, they're in software and IT. Maybe high PEs is normal there. I can look at that later, but let me see. Income. I mean, they're a profitable company. It's not like they're losing money. They're still pulling a positive net income. So they are profitable. Even on the annual basis, they've been profitable for the past 5 years. This is going to probably be a dip buy here, folks. Balance sheet. Not financial advice, but, you know. you got a company that has solid financials and solid fundamentals, and you get a reaction like this because of earnings. That's just kind of an overreaction in my. Their debt to assets only 51%, so that's pretty good. And they got weekly options, so you could totally take advantage of this stock. Could be dip by opportunity, dip by trade, if you will, on the trade desk. And Volstagg on YouTube, you got the 70 strike put. That's in the money now, brother. That's in the money now. So we'll see if we can stay below 70. But yeah, I mean that's kind of ideal, right? You buy an option that's out of the money with the expectation that it goes in the money. That's how you're gonna get paid right there. So good stuff. Let's see if the trade desk holds below 70. And Volstagg on YouTube, you're gonna get paid nice on that one. Let's take a look at QuantumScape QS. Let's see what's going on with them. Rocket Lab still kind of, it's just, I mean, it's starting to make some higher lows. I guess you could say that. So we'll see what it ends up doing, but just kind of really sloppy price action. Like the top side price action, it's like mirror of the bottom side here, and just sloppy. Investors are kind of undecided what they're doing with this thing. It kind of popped up initially, then it sold off, then it popped up again, then it sold off even more. Now it's making higher lows and trying to get back above this EMA here, but this is basically just choppy mess right now. No rhyme or reason yet, so just gonna have to be patient on Rocket Lab. I'm not the type to rush into anything, so if the price action is just a sloppy mess like this, I'm just watching for now. Trade desk trying to put the bottom in around 61.50. We'll see if that holds or not. Just put a little fib on this and see what's up. Okay. Would they close at 88.33? All right, that's where I'm going to draw this to right there. So the trade desk, I'd like it to get, it's got a decent move it needs to make before it can even retrace 25%. So let's make sure that this is not a dead cat bounce, and maybe there's going to be another leg down. That's really what you need to be careful and watch out for. Because for this even just to retrace 25%, it needs to get back above $68, and it's trading at a little above 64 right now. So there's still like a $4 move that needs to be happened before I would even consider jumping in on a reversal on this. Personally, I think if you did what Volstagg did, he was in puts before the earnings, and looks like that was the move. And of course it's hard to predict what these earnings moves are going to do, but there's all kinds of clever ways you can protect a position. Let's say you had a position in the trade desk and you were long, and let's say you had a few hundred shares, maybe 200 shares, or even just 100 shares. We'll go with 100 shares, and maybe you were green on the shares, and earnings is coming up, and you're like, how do I protect this position? And better yet, how do I protect the profit that's on the table? And what I would do personally is I would just slap a collar on it. So you just kind of convert it to a collar trade. And what that is you're going to buy you're going to sell to open a covered call, and then you're going to use the premium you collect on that to buy a naked put option. And then your downside will be capped at the strike price you chose for your protective put. So that's what I would do, and that's what I would probably do with any position that I had if there was earnings catalyst coming up and I was green on it. I guess it don't really matter if you're green or not. If you just want to protect the current status of the position, regardless if you're green or not, the easiest way to do that is to slap a collar on it. And I teach people in the Discord how to do all that stuff. So we have a lot of fun in there. There's really are a lot of creative ways to protect yourself. You could set some trades up before the earnings catalyst, and there's some creative things you can do to protect yourself, really. All right, let's look at a few more. Actually, it's 4:45. I know I didn't get to everyone's comments, but we kind of ran out of time a little bit, and I just want to give everyone an update on those positions that I had that I was showing everyone yesterday. Let me just zoom in on this real quick. This is one of my accounts here, and I still have the bull ticker symbol BULL. I still got that this is a cash secured put. I sold the $14 strike. Bull was having a good past few days, if I remember. Let me just go to 1 hour chart. Yeah, they've been having a nice week, basically. They were down here around $13 and they hit $16 yesterday. I mean, $3 a share from 13. 3 divided by 13. I mean, this thing's up 23% in just the past 4 trading days. It's just kind of went nuts and rallied, right? Maybe 5 trading days. But anyways, I had sold a $14 cash secured put. I just, I wouldn't mind owning it at 14, and it looks like I was obviously right about the direction. So even though it says put, this is a bullish trade because I'm technically short the put. So anytime you're short the contract, you're doing the opposite of what the contract is. So same thing with the call, like a covered call. We were talking about covered calls earlier. You're selling to open the covered call. You're the seller of the call. You're technically short the call. So technically a covered call is a bearish trade. I mean, it kind of gives you credit when the stock it could stay neutral or go down, and that's how you make money on the covered call. But anytime you're short a contract, you're doing the opposite. So I'm short this $14 put, which means it's neutral to bullish. I basically just want bull to stay above $14 by August 15th, and August 15th is next Friday. So I don't really got to wait a long time at all. It's not like I'm married to this thing, right? So expires next Friday. I got 53% on the table right now. I want to squeeze more juice out of it. I'd like to get 75% or 80% out of it, if not most of it. That was $82.32 of credit I collected when I wrote the contract. So maybe I'll just take it. It's like I said, it expires next Friday. I don't have to wait long. Maybe I'll just take it to the end of next week and squeeze every penny out of it. But and who knows if we bull, look, I'm looking at bull on Webull. Anyways, so if Webull continues trending up and ends up like above 16, gets to $17, and does that tomorrow or something, I won't have to wait until next Friday. I'll have most of the profit on the table, and then I'll just close it out and pocket that money. I did a buy plus right strategy on Ford yesterday because they have the ex-dividend date coming up. So you can see here, ex-div date, August 11th. So to get Ford's dividend, you got to own shares by Monday, okay? And then be owner of record on Monday, August 11th. So I bought a few hundred shares. And then what I did was I turned around and sold. So my average on the shares is only $11.23. And I then sold 2 covered call contracts. Only collected $7 a contract. I know it's not a lot of money, but I just wanted to do that because I could get a little bit of money on the covered call side. And then also I'm gonna be eligible for the dividend, which I believe is 15 cents a share. So if you kind of think about it as a whole, yeah, I only got $7 a contract on the covered call, but I'm also going to be getting that dividend of 0.15. So technically 22 a contract is what I'm getting. So I'm okay with that. And then of course, if Ford does go over 1150 by August 15th, yes, my shares will get called away on the 15th, but I don't care if they do because I've already gotten, I've already been approved to get that dividend payment as long as I own the shares on August 11th. So obviously I'll have the shares until next Friday. But if I do get called away at 11:50, my cost base is only 11.23. So if I get called away at 11.50, that's another 27 cents a share profit on top of the credit from the covered call, and then plus the dividend. So I plan on making 49 cents profit per share. And just do the math. You got a few hundred shares, then you basically get 50% value on that. So 49%. So that's just a simple. I call it's a buy plus write strategy. So you're buying shares. You can do it all in the same trade ticket too. You buy the shares and then deploy covered calls all at the same time. That's what I did here. Then of course I did start selling cash secured puts on JetBlue. I said this the other day when I was going over this position. I know there's better airlines to trade. I know, but anytime JetBlue's gone in the $4 range, I've always traded it, and I've always made some really good money on it. So I sold some $4.50 cash secured puts, which is neutral to bullish. You can see I did 5 contracts on that one. I got $28 a contract. I'm a little red on it right now, but that's okay. If I get assigned at 450 because I received $28 a contract, 0.28, my cost base is only going to be $4.22. And I believe that's below what JetBlue's trading at right now. Yeah, it's trading at $4.32. So even if I get assigned at 450, I'll still have a 10-cent cushion per share from where JetBlue's trading at today. And then if I do get the shares, I'll just whip out. I'll start selling the 450 the $4.50 strike covered calls. You can see here this September expiration. These things are going for $30 a piece. So I'll easily sell 5 of those and bring in what's that? Another $150. So anyways, yeah, that's just update on those positions. I do trade a lot more. I do have a lot more other trades. I traded other stocks. Of course, I share all that stuff with the Discord every week, and we have a lot of fun in there. But let me look at a few more questions. Look at UPS, good dividends, and they're down huge. That was said by the Golden Vault. Appreciate the engagement. Let's take a look. I actually was trading spreads on UPS not too long ago, and we did well in this when they were uptrending here. I did some credit spreads, and we got paid some good money there recently. But yeah, look at this earnings dip. Wow, look at that. Looks like a bottom is trying to form around the mid 80s. It's basically trading just above that right now. So yeah, keep your eye on it. Now there's a gap up here on the top side too. Trailing 12-month PEs at 12.87, nice and positive there. I mean, we can compare that with their competitors to see on the PE range, are they undervalued or overvalued compared to their competitors? And that's something we can easily look up and see. But nonetheless, a positive PE at 12.87. Wow, 7.5% dividend on UPS. No kidding. Golden Bolt, you weren't joking about that dividend. That's a nice divvy payment right there. I mean, that's 50% more than you'd get from the cash sweep with your broker when we get dividends on our cash. And that's 50% more than, the 10-year treasury yields. Wow, great dividend. Now, of course, you get a sell-off like what just happened with earnings. I guess the dividend, if you owned it up here, then the dividend's not going to matter too much to you. But yeah, it's been downtrending for a minute, actually. Look at this weekly chart. But I mean, look at this potential support. Basically around here where it bounced a few times. So it hit 67. And this was 5 years ago. Shoot. It came down to 67. So you could just see how the amount of force when it went from basically 70 back to like the 130s. I mean, that's like the same amount of force it dropped. Look at that, just whew, right down here, over here on the right. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it. I'm gonna put this on my watch list just because of the dividend, but it's been downtrending. It's not out of the downtrend yet, so I don't know how comfortable I'd be with trading this because it just, and this is the weekly chart, but the price gets above this. That's the 21 EMA. Yep, that's the 21 EMA. It kind of gets pulled to the 21 EMA like a magnet every time it comes down. So yeah, I mean, this could actually, maybe this is a trade for it to come back to this 21 EMA. I wonder what the Bollinger Bands look like on this. Yeah, look at that. It's just bouncing off the bottom Bollinger Band. So actually, Golden Vault, there might be a trade here back to the midline, back to 100. Just like $14 in upside. And then, maybe you could just put a nice, maybe a 10% risk on the downside. So if you think about it, maybe just do like a 7 and 14 ratio. So if you did decide to maybe trade this, because nonetheless, it's printing a weekly green candle. We'll see what tomorrow's price action is. Now, it is kind of a tiny weekly green candle compared to this previous red one, but I'm kind of liking the setup on the bottom Bollinger Bands. And every time it's kind of printed this big weekly red candle that it has every so often, it always comes back to I could actually just get rid of this EMA because the middle line of the Bollinger Band, I believe that's the 20 SMA, I believe. So it's an interesting setup. You got some good eyes there, and every time it's kind of pulled away from the mean, if you will, it always comes back up to the midline like a magnet. Look at that. So I do think there's something there. So good eyes on that Golden Vault. And like I said, that median or the mean or the middle line of the Bollinger Band is right below $100 a share. So maybe you could do like a $7 risk per share to gain $14 per share. That way you could be a nice 1 to 2 risk reward. Risk $1 to make 2. That would be a sweet setup, I think. Yeah, I like it. And to be honest with you, you could probably start. I don't know if I'd do cash secured put on this. I mean, I suppose you could. August 15th, this monthly cycle. If you sold, what's the delta over here? Got a delta of 29, or you get this delta 40 contract here that pays $100. So, you'd have to tie up 8,600 though for that cash secured put, unless you bought a longer dated put with like 3 or 4 months of time on it, and then use that as collateral, kind of like a diagonal spread. That would greatly reduce your buying power by a ton. The buying power needed for the cash secured put trade. There's ways to creatively reduce the buying power needed for a cash secured put trade by doing some creative things with some options that are further out on the calendar. But you get $100 on this one. Just say you just did a regular cash secured put. Yeah, I mean, that pays 11.6% return on capital in 8 days. So I'm sorry, 1.1% return on capital. I was like, wait, there's no way that pays 11%. 1.1% on your money in 8 days, which honestly, it's still a good return if you think about it. You would just have to be okay with owning a UPS at 86 in case you get assigned. But this could be the start of the little uptrend back to the midline on this Bollinger Band setup here. So nice eyes. I like it. And the dividend will be $1.36 a share. Yeah. And I guess the reason why I was saying cash secured put, because maybe just bring in a little bit of credit first, and then you could always put the cash secured puts on hold when the ex-div date comes up. And looks like their ex-div date is August 18. So that's about a week and a half. So yeah, but yeah, $1.36 for the dividend. That's really really good. I just really like this setup here. I mean, this would just be a stock equity trade for me. Like I say, me personally, buy some shares. With the understanding that I'm going to own the shares on August 18th, so I can get that dividend, and then basically just play the move back to the middle Bollinger Band line. I think that would be a solid trade. Okay, it's about 5 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. It's been about an hour, but I had a blast today. We got almost 5,000 people tuning in, and again, I do this every Tuesday, Wednesday. Pick out two kind of popular tickers, and we go over the earnings, the EPS, the revenue, any guidance. I show everyone how to get to the earnings web call with the upper management. Give the times for those, and then we just kind of interact. And I like looking at some of the stocks that people put in the comments, and we can talk about it. Look at the fundamentals, look at the income statement, the balance sheet, check and see what the debt to asset ratio is. Some important, just basic key metrics you can look at to quickly kind of determine the health of a company. I know there's a lot of things in between the lines, and we can take a much deeper dive into the due diligence, of course. But I just like to kind of do like a little once over on the stock and kind of look at the charts and bigger time frames, see if there's any opportunities there. And then I like showing some of my own personal positions I have on my Fidelity account and kind of chatting about them for a little bit, and just letting everyone know kind of the types of trades that I do, and the kind of money I'm making over here. So, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. My name's the Swinging Bull. My real name is Benjamin. I go by Ben. I'm from Florida, in case anyone was wondering. And, oh my God, it's been so hot lately. Take a walk around the neighborhood and I'm sweating bullets. But yeah, it's been fun, and most of my friends and family call me Ben, so that's fine. But Discord name is the Swinging Bull. And yeah, if you want to come hang out, and you're looking for a new trading community that's supportive, and we got tons of education and trade alerts and everything, come check us out. And if you do end up joining, I always say, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello, and we can talk for a little bit. And maybe there's something I can help you out with right away. You never know. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night. That wraps up the earnings streams for this week. So I will be back next Tuesday for the next earnings stream. And other than that, I hope everyone has a good night. I hope everyone enjoys the weekend. Recharge your batteries, clear your mind. We come right back at it on Monday, ready to rock and roll and make some money. But yeah, I really enjoyed the stream, and I'll chat with everyone very, very soon. Cheers and have a good night. Bye.